Hi, I'm professional sports handicapper Ross Benjamin reporting for the Offshore Gaming Association. That's OSGA.com, your number one source for information on the offshore sportsbook industry. That's OSGA.com. I have three college football free picks for Saturday, August 31st. I'm currently recording on Friday, August the 30th. So, folks, these lines are subject to change. Just make note of that. Before we get to the picks, congratulations to each and every one of you who have been watching these videos right along. I really appreciate your support, and you've been rewarded handsomely as our last 24 videos, now 39 and 26. That's good for 60%. We're off to a great start in college football as we had two winners on Thursday. We went 2-0, I should say. And those two winners came on Utah -5 and an easy 30-12 win at BYU. We also had Cincinnati -2.5, who was a 24-14 winner over UCLA. And right now, pending, we have Rice plus the points, 22.5 against Army. And we also have Wisconsin this evening as a free pick. If you haven't tuned in to my Friday video as well, that's Wisconsin. They're currently -11. When I gave them out, they were -13. So that's what I mean. When we record, sometimes the lines change right up to game time. And look, when I say 13, I'm laying a 13. Okay, the smart thing for you to do, if you haven't made the bet by now, obviously, is you're getting a better line at 11. My point being, whatever I say when I record, that line is the line we use when I grade my selection. So we have Wisconsin -13 and Rice plus 22.5 for Friday evening. Be sure to tune in that video and find out exactly why I like both of those plays as well. And you can do that by just going to our OSGA YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button below, right below this video, folks. Costs you absolutely nothing. It's what keeps these videos alive, and certainly with the kind of winners we've been giving out lately, I'm sure that you have no problem with supporting winning selections and being a more educated football or sports bettor by viewing these videos. So just click that subscribe button below. No strings attached, no hidden agenda, no ulterior motive. Just click the subscribe button. Let's get right to the Saturday games. Let's start with the matchup between Ole Miss and Memphis. The game will be played at the Liberty Bowl in Memphis, 12 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff. Currently, as we speak, the Memphis Tigers are a 4.5-point home favorite, according to Five Dimes. Ole Miss really lost a ton of offense from last year's team. As a matter of fact, they lost their top three wide receivers to the NFL, in addition to their starting tight end, Dawson Knox, who was a third-round choice of the Buffalo Bills. So they have a lot of offensive production they must replace. And even with that offensive production, last year Ole Miss was an abysmal 0-7 straight up in ATS as an underdog, and they lost those 7 games by an average of 22.2 points per contest, albeit all 7 of those games were against SEC competition. Memphis is not an SEC team, but Memphis is going to be contending for a spot in the Cotton Bowl as a Group 5 representative at the end of the year. But before they could even consider that, they must win this game against an SEC team. It would be a feather in their cap. They can't afford to lose here because it's real difficult for a Group of 5 team to lose their opening game, and then all of a sudden now they have to run the table and hope nobody else goes undefeated like Central Florida has over the last 2 years. Having said all that, Memphis last year, as opposed to Ole Miss, who was a terrible road dog, Memphis was a great home favorite. They won all 6 of those games straight up by an average of 32.4 points per contest, and they covered 5 of those 6 games. I like Memphis here, -4.5 at versus Ole Miss. Next game, the University of Syracuse, number 22 ranked in the preseason AP poll, travel to Liberty to take on the Liberty Flames, 6 p.m. Eastern Time start. Right now, Syracuse is an 18.5-point road favorite at Heritage. This will be former Ole Miss coach, ironically, Hugh Freeze. It will be his debut as a head coach at Liberty. He takes over a program that's in their second full season playing at the FBS level. Liberty did go 6-6, a very respectable 6-6 in their first year playing an FBS schedule. However, Liberty went 4-6 against FBS teams. Two of their 6 wins came against FCS teams, and 3 of their 4 wins against FBS opponents came against the likes of New Mexico State, and Old Dominion. Those teams combined to finish 10-26 a season ago. Their lone win against an FBS opponent that had a winning record was Troy, who went 10-3, and Troy plays in the weakest conference in the country in the Sun Belt. So again, what my point being here is they were 6-6. That looks very respectable, but it's a little bit deceiving. And don't forget, this is a Syracuse team last year that went 10-3, and their only 3 losses came at the hands of Notre Dame and Clemson. Those 2 teams went to the college football playoff. In the Clemson game, they only lost by 4 on the road and had the lead going into the last minute of that game against the eventual national champion. And they also fell at Pittsburgh in overtime, and that's the same Pitt team that played Clemson in the ACC championship game. And this Syracuse team returns a ton of talent on defense. Fantastic defensive ends in Elton Robinson and Kendall Coleman, who each had 10 sacks a season ago. Their secondary is top-notch, led by safety Andre Cisco, who was a first-team All-American as a freshman last year and a preseason first-team All-American this year. Cisco led the country with 7 interceptions. I think Syracuse will be way too much here for Liberty. Liberty might hang in the game for a half. I think Syracuse will eventually wear them down with their athleticism and depth. I like Syracuse here, minus 18.5 at Liberty. Final game, SMU at Arkansas State. Arkansas State currently a 2.5-point home favorite at Bookmaker. A lot of excitement around the SMU program. They're looking for a big year. Shane Buechele, the former starting quarterback at Texas, takes over at SMU. However, SMU's got a big obstacle to climb here when playing on the road. As a matter of fact, they have to really break a losing tradition here, as they've gone 1-33 straight up as a non-conference away underdog, and that includes 0-11 straight up in ATS when they were a dog of 9.5 or less on the road, and that's all since 2014. And they lost those 11 games as an underdog of 9.5 or less, like they'll be on Saturday, by 22.7 points per contest. Conversely, Arkansas State since 2011 has gone 39-8 at home, and since 2012 the Red Wolves are 16-1 straight up and 14-2 against the spread as a home favorite of 2 to 14 points. My point being here, I know we're talking about a lot of straight up numbers, but when you're laying only 2.5, there's very little wiggle room where you could actually win the game as a favorite and not cover. So I like those straight up numbers as they apply to this point spread parameter, and I'm going to take Arkansas State here minus the 2.5 with the strong home field against an SMU program who's yet to prove they can win on the road. Again, let's repeat these selections for Saturday, August 31st. The Memphis Tigers minus 4.5 at home against Ole Miss. The Syracuse Orange minus 18.5 at Liberty, and the Arkansas Red Wolves minus 2.5 at home against the SMU Mustangs. Be sure to visit my website. That's rbwins.com. Off to a nice 2-0 start in college football with my paid picks. Last night I had a 5-star selection on Tulane minus 3, who was a 42-14 blowout winner against FIU. Last week I had Miami of Florida as a 5-star, plus 7.5, easily inside the number against Florida in a 4-point loss. That's rbwins.com, where you pay a little to make a lot. Hit that subscribe button below, folks. Support these videos, absolutely free, no strings attached. Until the next time, good luck with all your picks.